On this episode of the Awareness Angle interviews, I meet with Ishmael Pennino and Liam Stock-Rabbat, two awareness professionals from Canada who are doing great things to keep the community safe from cyber threats. They've got different experiences and come at awareness from a different perspective. But collectively, we all agree on one thing, that this isn't just a corporate problem. This is a community problem that we kind of all feel this responsibility to resolve. It's a great conversation. If you're a security awareness professional, we get into the meat and bones of what drives us, what we want to achieve. And it's just a really nice, honest, organic conversation. So here is my chat with Ishmael and Liam. Right, with me today, I have two awareness professionals that I have known for some time, but have gotten to know really well over the past few months. And they've decided to come as a double act today. So first of all, let's me introduce Ishmael. Ishmael, do you want to, who are you? What do you do?
All right. Excellent. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be on this podcast show. It's one of my favorite, and I very much enjoy listening to the episodes and promoting it here in Canada, sharing it with our fellow colleagues who are interested in cybersecurity awareness. A little bit about myself. My name is Ishmael Pennino. I'm originally from Montreal. I'm living in the GTA in the Greater Toronto area. And I'm new, I guess, in comparison to some of us in cybersecurity awareness, but it's something I'm very passionate about, especially from a cybersecurity, human-centric angle with the take on awareness angle. And it's something that I see a lot of value that it can bring to cybersecurity. And I try to promote it as much as possible and let people see it from this different angle, because it's something that most people don't think about and they don't realize. And then when you have the opportunity to speak to them about it, they really appreciate it and they see it and they see the value that it could bring, And this is what I try to do in all my work, I've recently joined TELUS here in Canada, and I really appreciate them because they are very human-centric in their approach, and it's something that I'm very excited about. Culture means a lot to them, and developing their culture in the organization. It's a very big organization, so I'm quite happy about that. Yeah,
Good.
And I'm
Good.
so excited to be on this show. Thank you.
That's no, it's great to have you. Don't worry. Liam, who are you and what do you do?
Maybe in a few words. So my name is Liam Stock-Rabbat. I come with also quite a bit of experience in security awareness and human risk management. For the past year, I've been kind of trying to fly solo, quote unquote. So I've started a consultancy dedicated to security awareness and providing, consultancy services to kind of big organizations across the world. And I'm also from Montreal, also based in GTA. So me and Ishmael have that in common.
Is that normal? People from Montreal end up being in Toronto?
It depends who you ask, but
okay.
No, I think that was one thing that we were both like, just having those kind of common understanding, common roots, at least culturally, was, really facilitated, I guess, our relationship. But I've only been here for the, 1 year. So it's been a lot of new experiences for me. And I've just been really happy to be able to meet Ishmael along the way.
Liam, how long have you been doing security awareness?
I'm on my 7th year now. And this is also, I was doing, working in kind of crime prevention before.
Right,
so
okay.
It's not explicitly security awareness, but, quite similar field. It depends what day you ask. Sometimes it's, 8 years. Sometimes it's 7, but yeah,
Yeah.
purely
And
security
Ishmael,
awareness, I would say 7 years now.
okay. Ishmael, what about you?
About, I would say, 3 years since 2022. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what did you do before security awareness, Ishmael?
I did a lot. I was in education. I
Okay.
actually lived and worked in the Middle East for a number of years. And when I came back to Canada, I think it was in 2016, I worked in healthcare.
Okay.
And I did a degree in workplace health and wellness, workplace management. Yeah.
I mean, so both of you have parallels in the fact that you've both done stuff that's been crime prevention, healthcare. It's all people focused, right? Helping people, which kind of naturally leads onto a pathway here. But I think one thing we quite often see is that very often people in this space come from a variety of different backgrounds and bring different experiences. What made you care about cybersecurity? I mean, I'll start with Liam. What made you care about the work in this place, in this space?
I mean, I think we may all be from different generations, but I really, really loved, even at a young age, kind of tinkering and trying to hack apps or illegally download stuff, and just really kind of obsessed with tech without being or becoming a technical person. And so, yeah, when I just saw that, hey, there's like a field that's at the intersection of, communications, behavioral sciences, technology, and kind of all these like fields where, hey, you can be as creative as you want, and you can work with tech, and like, I can put my background to use. That's for me where it really clicked, and I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this, yeah. I think it's also, for me, it was the kind of pursuit of wanting to do things correctly that made me kind of really fall in love with this, because as you said, people come from, all different kind of backgrounds, and very often like the first kind of image of this role that you have is, well, you're only communicating for the department, for your security department. That's typically people's first view of this role. And when I started, so my first experience was with Ubisoft, so a gaming company. And when I first started, I'm like, I can't just be like making posts on your local, internet. Like, there has to be a better way to do this. And so I kind of became obsessed with that as well. Just like, I've said this to a few people before, but like, doing the homework and figuring out like, okay, how do you actually do this job? People like Perry Carpenter's books, for example, they really kind of, they lay the groundwork. So you understand that, hey, it's not just about doing communications or sending phishing emails or, billing a training. It's kind of everything and even more. So,
yeah.
For me, that was really important moments.
Ishmael, what about you? What made you care about this space, this work?
I was seeing that this world that we're living in is changing so fast, and I don't know if everybody is able to keep up the pace, and the need for cybersecurity awareness is so important and so valuable because it affects so many people. And we really have to reach out as many as we can, because so many people are falling behind and not able to keep up. And it's our, I believe, responsibility to help and support and do what we can for all of them,
What's really interesting, I think, Ishmael, is that you've done security awareness for 3 years.
Yeah.
So you've been here, like AI came out, ChatGPT launched like just over 3 years ago. So you've done it purely in the AI generation, which I think it's almost like I grew up without the internet, and then like a certain generation grows up with the internet. You've like arrived here with AI being and funny enough, this year in the podcast, we got a audit like wrapped thing like for Spotify, and the most spoken word on our podcast in the past year has been the word AI. It's been the most popular phrase, and it's not an AI podcast.
My girlfriend would agree as well. I feel like it's all I'm talking about these days. So. Yeah.
I just wanted to get into one thing early on. You two are a bit of a double act. I referred to you as a double act at the beginning, but you two actually collaborate on a project, don't you?
Yes.
Like, I don't see anyone. Ishmael, you are the most consistent high performer on LinkedIn that I see. Like, nobody. I'm envious of the traction your posts get, and I realize it's probably hard work. But man, if I had the reach, if my post got the reach that your post got, but can you just explain? I mean, fight amongst yourselves who does it. Just explain a little bit about the work that you two do together, because it's so genuinely amazing.
Liam, go ahead.
Ishmael, it's all yours.
Oh, so modest. Someone, or I will pick one.
All right. So who do you pick? Who are you going to put on the
Ishmael,
spot?
you go first. You go first. Liam went first last time.
I've been doing cybersecurity awareness content creation and posts, especially on LinkedIn, for over a year. And I came to this idea as an inspiration because I was seeing that our cybersecurity awareness has to be for everyone, and we have to reach all people in society, not just our workplaces and our businesses and all that, because it truly affects everybody. In this day and age, nobody can live without having at least a basis and a foundation to build off in their cybersecurity awareness. And this initiative that we have, the Cybersecurity Awareness for Everyone, that's being sponsored by the Canadian Cybersecurity Network, which is Canada's largest cybersecurity community and ecosystem. We approached the CEO, the founder, and we discussed the idea with him, and he was very interested and intrigued by it. And we were able to get their support and their buy-in, and they're helping us with this initiative. And we're reaching out a lot of people. And I was very surprised that we were able to reach people, not just here in Canada, but a lot in Europe, in the UK, and even as far as Australia, And the way I go about it, I always personalize it, and I always make sure that human connection exists. Like, I do a lot of work behind the scenes to make my messages reach as many people as I can. Because, I mean, like, everybody has their own lives and they're busy and all that. But subtle reminders, nudges, always help.
It's like you're doing security engagement for your own posts. It's like little nudges, behavioral change, just like you're just bringing that, but for your own cause as well, which I think is amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So are they all, the posts you do are all kind of for social positivity, aren't they? They're not like, there's no commercial driver behind them really. They're all just for community-led initiative.
Yeah, because nobody's doing it. Somebody has to, and we have to bring out that importance and that emphasis out there for people to understand. It's like, this is a very important initiative and project we're undertaking, and we hope that people will be interested in it and want to do what they can to further it. Because I mean, there's so many vulnerable groups in our society that are completely helpless, and that we have the responsibility as family members for our immediate family, and then for other people in our society. People have even approached me and Liam and asked us if we can do something on this particular group, being that they're so targeted and they're so vulnerable and they're in such a disposition. And we try to do what we can. And also, by doing what we've done, we've reached and connected with so many people that are doing amazing work in these areas. And we try to support each other, and we try to develop, what we're doing to really make it as impactful as we can. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Liam, does that cover it all? Or is
I mean, I think
you wanted to add
at the gist, I just want to say at the gist of it, the initiative that Ishmael is talking about is an article series. We all have kind of this professional knowledge. Businesses invest a lot to either hire us or to train, their staff on these key messages related to cybersecurity and cybersecurity awareness. And so we met up and thought, okay, we're going to make an article series, continue the great work that Ishmael was already doing, but we're now going to try and amplify it and create, multiple months of content, but also multiple formats. So, every month there's, custom imagery, there's a text, obviously, that gets written. There's a podcast that gets produced. So an AI generated podcast, as well as an audio recording of the actual text. So essentially, we're trying to put at the disposal of people kind of everything that they need to hear the message. So you might not like reading, that's fine. You can listen to it. Maybe, just a normal read through is boring. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Well, hey, there's like an engaging podcast format, and, we're just seeing like, okay, well, what's next in terms of mediums, and how can we amplify this beyond, LinkedIn?
This, I mean, that's brilliant, because different people consume content in different ways. And if you were like, no, it's just an article series, you are going to restrict your audience, aren't you? But the fact you're thinking about the different ways you can engage individuals is really, really important. So that's really good.
We're actually going to get Morgan Freeman to read the next article out loud.
Real Morgan Freeman or Morgaine Freeman with an AI?
Yeah, well, anything is possible with AI.
You see, I remember a time before AI when I paid a Morgan Freeman impersonator from Fiverr to actually narrate some videos. Yeah. But now I can just get AI to do it. That poor Morgan Freeman impersonator is probably out of a job now. But there we go. When you think about the harm caused by scams and breaches, what worries you most? Like, what's the scams and breaches? What's the impact that worries you the most? Liam,
for me, it's on multiple fronts. I should mention here, like, the Shamrock project.
Yes.
Like, she's doing honestly amazing work. But for me, it's like, okay, there's obviously the financial aspect, like billions and billions and billions of dollars are being scammed from hardworking everyday people. But then it's like, just the like devastation that causes within families. Very often, this devastation and this victimization, and I've spoken about this also a bit in the past, but it's actually a cycle of victimization, because it's not just the scammed individual that gets victimized. It's that person's family, depending on the context of the scam. It can be the scammer themselves that are victims of, organized crime and so forth. So it's really, and their families and their communities. And so for me, it's not only a 1-to-1 ratio, scammer to scammed. It really it's kind of like a suicide in a way, where it actually impacts way more than the person concerned. It's never black and white. So yeah, who worries me the most?
Just to add some context.
Yeah.
I was going to just add some context on Shamrock Project, because not everyone will be aware really of Erin's work, but we were all at the SANS Security Awareness Summit in Chicago, and Erin gave the keynote speech right at the beginning, and it was the one talk that everybody spoke about, because it was just jaw-dropping, the work she did, like the video. So it's about basically massive encampments in Myanmar of people that are literally in Cambodia, which are literally, it's like battery hens, like battery farming of people that are held there against their will and forced to do romance scams, what formerly known as pig butchering, and other kinds of scams as well. And yeah, like you say, the impact on not just those people that are held against their will in poor conditions, but those people that are receiving the call, and the impact that the effect of that then has on their family is huge. Really is huge. Yeah.
And often, if you look at who's being victimized, okay, there are some people that have, lack of contextual knowledge. Like, that's typically how you get scammed. But there's also a whole aspect to it. It's like, no, people are lonely and they just want to be online. And, oh, there's some stranger that hit me up on Facebook and we started talking. And now there's like, a consistent person in their life. And it's like, obviously the scam is devastating, but like for those people, I think it's even more devastating to a level that we can't understand, because it's more than the money at that point. It's like, their social circle, their friend, their partner, their loved one. Like, I think
there's a shame element to it as well for the
and
individual.
there's the shame, of course.
Like, they feel shamed, there's embarrassment, there's, it knocks their confidence. And in a post-COVID-19 world, where more people are working remotely, the dating scene, thank God that, like, I managed to not lock a wife down, but secure a wife before, like, online dating became a thing, because I can't even imagine doing that now. It must be horrible. So, people are just a vulnerability that was there but wasn't as big, has just grown completely in people that feel more isolated, lonely. They haven't got such a community around them anymore, which just makes them more vulnerable to this kind of attack.
And I
think everything is upgraded. Yeah. Go ahead, Liam.
I was just gonna say, I think it's also like you're breaking apart. I mean, okay, we don't need to get into a wider comment about, our societies, but more and more people are devaluing community as a whole, and the value of community, and the value of, like, for example, in religious circles, like, the popularity of religion isn't necessarily about the religion itself, but also the community that comes with it, and the feeling of togetherness, and everything else that comes with it. And so, as people start knocking on these concepts of communities and getting together with people, well, people start seeking community elsewhere, and that's, for me, like, who gets preyed on the most. Is like those people just seeking a connection of some sort. It doesn't necessarily need to be romantic all the time, but it's just like, it's
just having someone to reach out to, or someone to talk to, or someone to hear them. And that's the sad thing about this. We'll get off this topic in just a second, but the AI, like character AI and stuff like that, you hear of stories where people have built relationships with AI characters online now, and it's because community is just breaking down. Ishmael,
yes, go ahead.
Is yours quite similar when you think about the harm caused by scams and breaches?
Yes, because it's like people, because of COVID and the way digital world is developing, they don't have those social skills anymore and opportunities. And like we were discussing, the community is becoming non-existent. So before, they used to have the support from their community to be able to deal with whatever they faced in their lives. But now, less and less, they're having that, and they're becoming more vulnerable because of it. And these predators are preying on that, and they have no shame. They'll go after anybody and everybody, and they won't exclude anybody because of their situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just move on a little bit. You guys have done awareness collectively for many years. Have you seen a moment where simple awareness has genuinely helped someone feel safer? And this could be either in your community work or at work, like a general awareness that you do. Can you name a moment where that's actually had an impact, or someone's gone, thank you?
I want to go first on that one.
Go on then. You can go first.
It's actually your interview with Daisy Wong at the Cyber Security Awareness Summit that I reposted and I shared with my community here. A lot of people came back to me and thanked me for being able to do that, because her talk was amazing. The way she responded to the situation that she felt and went through was just breathtaking. And it reached so many people from the post that I made of it that really appreciated her honesty, her, like, the way she, like we were talking just before about feeling ashamed and the shame element that's brought into it, I commend her so much for what she's done, and also you for having this interview with her. I thought it was fantastic. It was so brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to add, Daisy's an awareness professional based in Australia. Yes. I interviewed Daisy at the SANS Summit in Chicago in August this year, and Daisy told how she'd been a victim of a romance scam. And she's an awareness professional. She lives and breathes this stuff. And she's experienced. She knows her stuff. But it just goes to show that anybody can be caught. Anybody can be vulnerable. When this show comes out, I'll put reference to that in the show notes, because it's not a long interview, but like you say, it was incredibly brave. Daisy volunteered that information. I had no idea she had that story to tell. And the fact that she had the confidence to tell that story, that's what we need to normalize in some ways, because if we keep these things a secret, no one will know about them, and they'll just be, oh, it happened to someone else in the news. If we can actually put a face and put a person into that kind of victim figure, then I also commend Daisy for that. Yeah,
definitely. You both did such a brilliant job, and it really touched so many people, because all the people that came back to me, not only through comments on my post, but actually reaching out to me personally, speaking to me about it, especially a lot of women, how they really related to it and how it gave them, like what we spoke about, that genuine sense of help and feeling safer, It was brilliant, just brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Liam, that same question for you.
Yeah.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
I mean, yeah, I think it's also, again, related to scamming. And I should just say, the more, because you say, it takes courage to come out and put a face to these numbers and say, well, this happened to this person I know. And I think we would just be quite surprised to see how many of us are either personally know or have heard of someone getting scammed. It's for me, it's I don't know. I just find it stupendous that we're kind of, we're all aware that this is happening. There's obviously shame associated with either being victimized or the context in which you are victimized. But yeah, we totally need to normalize that. And so kind of, again, this moment that I had was, a friend coming to me and saying, this time it was sextortion. So they thought they were talking to a real person on Tinder. So to come back to what you were talking about, dating, the conversation heated up. They ended up sending an explicit post, and then suddenly it's a man in London, and it's not the person that they thought they were talking to, And they knew that I worked in this field, so they reached out really in panic. Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I had to kind of walk them, and reassure them, first of all, they won't gain anything from sending you your pictures to anyone. They want money. That's what they want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you're able to cut them off and, quote unquote, walk away, that's where you reclaim your power over them. Because it's, if you keep feeding into this extortion, well, you're not going to get out of it. And so, it's not, corporate awareness, but it was just kind of it felt nice in that moment to be okay, well, I have, this knowledge and I'm able to impart it with you and kind of reassure you through this process, because it doesn't obviously happen every day. Just like a ransomware doesn't happen every day, or even a phishing email to a certain extent. And it's being able to, take that moment, give them advice. And by the way, if anyone is ever listening and they're in this position, you just really need to, quote unquote, unplug yourself from the internet, close your accounts for any amount of time. Just make them not be able to find you. And that will mitigate a lot of the damage, or a lot of the threats, at least. But yeah, that was kind of a moment that came to mind. Obviously, there's other professional ones that also resonate, but for me, that was kind of a personal moment. I was like, oh, okay, these threats don't just exist in a corporate setting. They exist in all kinds of settings.
I had a similar. I had someone that received one of those phishing emails that says like, "I've taken over your webcam and I've seen what you've been doing. You naughty boy. I've got your browsing history and a recording of you." And they approached me in confidence and was like, "Is this a scam? Do I need to be worried?" And I was like, "No. Like, I could show you 4 of these in my spam folder right now, probably."
Yeah.
They aren't as common now, but this was a few years ago when you got
I mean,
them all
this
the time.
might change as of
But
yesterday.
they were genuinely.
Sorry, with what's happening with Pornhub might change. But
Yes, of course. Yeah, news just broken that Pornhub has had a data breach, which is not great.
No,
yes,
all the naughty boys.
Yeah,
but
I'm not impacted.
I mean, it feels great when you're able to give, to break that mask essentially for people and say like, no, this is a dupe. This is like a deception.
I think a lot of us do this work because we like to have an impact, or we like to know that, not that we seek validation, but it's nice to know that the work we do makes a difference, isn't it? That we're actually doing something good, which is great. Yeah.
Definitely.
But the example you give there is wasn't necessarily commercially focused. And I might have just touched on it, but why do you think community work matters to security awareness professionals? Even like it's not part of my job description in the jobs I've had. I doubt it's part of yours. Like, you must do X amount of community work. But both of you are doing community focused initiatives, and the examples given have been not commercial, they've been personal. Why do you think community work matters to awareness people? Is it just like we want to help? Is that why we all got in this field? Ishmael.
I mean, it's like a social responsibility that we have, because we are the practitioners, the professionals in this particular field. And if we don't support our community with the support that they need, especially in cybersecurity awareness, who will?
Yeah.
And we have to give the right understanding and the right image so they see it in the way that they need to see it in. And I believe it falls upon us before anyone else, even if it's not in our job description. And it's our responsibility to even promote it and to start with our organizations, with the companies, because, I mean, everybody in society has other people that they're related to, responsible for, and it includes everyone. No one is like out of its realm. Everybody has to be. This is where the community comes in. And I believe if we do this, we will be able to correct many things that are going wrong in society. And this is a great way to do it, for sure.
And if I may add, it's like, I think for a lot of security awareness professionals, because many of us don't have a technical background, we think that we aren't doing specialized work. And I think that's one of the biggest fallacies, and to just assume that everyone has this knowledge in your community and has this kind of, these reflexes that we're preaching every day is wrong. To a certain extent, this is specialized knowledge that you would get in a specialized, in most cases, a white collar context. And it's like, that's not the case for everyone else. So it's like, well, if you're able to take this like knowledge and just put it out there, I mean, everyone stands to gain, like ultimately safer people is a safer community. I don't like to read that, unfortunately some child had to lose their life because of, this is more AI, but like all these kind of sad stories, it's like, it affects you, it affects you at a deep level. So yeah, if you have the keys to make the change, why not do it? I think ultimately it boils down to that as well,
I think that part of the problem is now as well, the individual users in the news this week, 700 Credit in America, which were a car credit company, suffered a massive data breach that impacted everybody that had ever applied for credit, not just those that had got it. And a lot of people may not even know that, or may not even remember that they went through that company. And now data breach, who's got access? Who's got your data? You've got no idea what companies have got your data. It was hilarious as well, because 700 Credit looked like they'd done a great job in being really transparent. But in order to watch all of the information about the breach, you had to give more data to 2 different companies to get into the webinar and to get into the video. So straight away, you're like giving out more data and more data and more data. And this is the problem. Like individuals now, like average person on the street, all the ingredients are out there for them to be socially engineered really well. So we need to equip them, and no one else is doing it. Like there's not an online license. You don't need to get a license to learn that you can use the internet properly before you connect. Anyone can do it. So it's a scary old world, really.
I don't want to generalize to all governments, because I don't think that would be fair. But I think, like in most cases, the public sector is very slow to react. And so, yes, they do put information out there. And in some cases, there might be engaging, campaigns. But I think in a lot of times, it's like, it's not because you have a web page with the information out there that like, oh, the job is done, secured your citizens, and so again, if you're able to like go beyond, just producing knowledge, and I mean, even now it's lost its value with AI. It's like, well, now it's like, okay, well, how do you make this stick, and I think that's where, we have a role, and we can act, to make it engaging, to make it compelling, to make it, worth people's time, essentially.
I think essentially you're talking about the difference between compliance and engagement, which is something people in our space deal with all the time. You're putting it up on the web page, like you said, would be compliance. Like, we've done it. Yeah, we've notified everyone. It's there if they want to access it. But what you're talking about is actually making it engaging, making it sticky, and making people keep getting their attention, essentially.
And bringing it back to community.
We see some... we see some great examples occasionally. Ireland recently did a great one with a husband, wife, and a daughter walking through a shopping centre, and everybody knows who the daughter is, and that and that like about sharing data on social media. And I remember there being another really good one I spoke about ages ago about someone on a bus, and that was a UK one. But these are rare, right? We talk about these because they're isolated cases. They stand out because they're unique. Then this isn't the norm. And that's the problem, isn't it? We need like more marketing in this space. We need more people to think of it as a product and try and get customers. And not everyone does that.
I think it's like the beauty of the knowledge that we have is in sharing, not in hoarding and keeping to ourselves. And sharing it with our community and society is the best thing that we can do, because we have to bring everyone at the same level. We don't want to separate people because they don't have this understanding and this knowledge that they need to continue in this digital world that we are developing in, establishing that human connection, so they can relate to what they're going through and reach out to who they need to be able to continue. This is what's missing, that human connection, it's there, but it needs to be developed, and we need to do our part. It's our responsibility and duty, I find, for sure. Yeah.
Let's move on to the future.
I might just want to add one more point.
Go on, then. Before we get to the future, let's stay on this.
But having all worked with, in larger scales, organizations, typically the larger it gets, the more they want to do initiatives that are scalable, and the less personal it gets, and the further away from a human connection you get as the bigger the entity gets. And I think when you're talking about, at a nation level or a city level, it's way too big to have these connections and to bring it back to the human scale. So it's I think there has to be also more efforts, in place to say okay, well, these large scale campaigns, yes, they work, but there also has to be this underlying kind of, it doesn't need to be one-on-one, but, human centric focused approach, because, we all know this for a fact. Like, okay, you sent out your email to your entire organization. It's going to have far less impact than a conversation one-on-one with, one person or a group of people. And so, I mean, the same applies outside a business context.
Yeah. Let's move on to the future.
Okay.
What are you working on right now that you hope will make a difference for businesses or communities in the future? Obviously, you've got your article series, podcast, audio recording, all of that. But Liam, we'll start with you. What are you working on right now that you think is going to make a difference?
Yeah, it's a little bit of self-promotion, I guess. But I'm also a fellow as part of the Rogers Cybersecurity Catalyst. So this is a program associated with, or it's a company, I should say, but associated with TMU, Toronto Metropolitan University. And so they got funders to fund cybersecurity projects, and namely some research projects. And so as part of this project, or this initiative, I was selected to work on a project to help develop a maturity model for security awareness. So I'm actively researching, what makes a program successful. I think all of us have kind of most of the answers. If you do day-to-day security awareness, kind of, what works and what doesn't. But I really am trying to combine all this into, a model that makes sense and ultimately allows practitioners like ourselves to better achieve behavioral change, and to kind of see, okay, well, from a scientific, and I use big air quotes here, scientific approach, what works best and why, and, what other factors need to be present for behavior change to happen. And I think that, hopefully this will be able to help businesses or even public entities, change behaviors for the better, and more effectively.
So what does that look like? That's a project you're working on? Is that going to be a commercial project in the end, or is that going to be a community initiative?
The output of this fellowship will be public knowledge. So there will be, some information. Haven't quite figured out what the format is going to be like, but it's going to look like most likely a website with some resources of these findings, just essentially saying, like, based on papers, like, here are the things and the factors and the mechanisms that you need to make sure are present to successfully change behaviors. And again,
so this isn't just Liam creating a maturity model based on 7 years of awareness experience of what he thinks should be done. This is research backed, multiple sources across many different fields. I mean, that sounds,
And I mean, currently we're at 74 sources. So I'm working through 74 papers to kind of extract what's pertinent, and if it should be kind of included. Hopefully we'll be able to add more resources to that. But yeah, I think hopefully that will help kind of nourish this field into something a bit more mature.
I think maturity is a real tough one, right? Because a lot of organizations, I think, will think that they're quite mature. And if you look at different maturity models, you could probably find one that meets where you want to be. But having one that's actually kind of research backed and, you can trust isn't just a sales tool or aligned with a specific compliance standard, I think is different. So that's exciting.
It's also, my aim with this is not just to evaluate, because I find maturity is very much evaluated as, what do you have that's in place, right? I have a phishing program, I do training twice a year, I do this, I do that. And it's like, okay, but how are you doing that? Is this the more important thing, Is it a throwaway training, or as I mentioned earlier, like, are you taking time to sit with a person and, speak to them for an hour? Like, those two activities have very different pedagogical value. And I think that, teaching people things is not new. We're not inventing the wheel in security awareness. We're just focused on one topic and one subset of behaviors. But there is a lot to go and borrow from, from marketing, from behavioral sciences, from schooling, like, one of the oldest art forms in the world. Like, a lot of it is not new. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
we have new technologies, but the approach is pretty fundamental. So it's kind of, exploring what other fields have to say. And again, from a non-technical perspective, which I think is often, has been slightly overlooked, seeing as
Yeah.
we are in a technical field because we deal with cybersecurity. So yeah, that's what I hope to do.
Amazing. That sounds so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ishmael, can you top that? Or
I don't know. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? I'm maybe looking at it from a different angle. I'm going out in the society, speaking with people, finding out what their concerns are, what their needs are, just gathering like their side of the situation so I can best be able to understand what we need to do in our work to best accommodate them and support them, you know? I always try to emphasize the human-centric approach to reassure them because they don't feel they are able to relate to what we're doing in cybersecurity. So bringing back the individual into the center of the picture, bringing that human back into it and showing the relationship and connection that they can have, I think is very important. You know, this is what I'm trying to do. And I mean, I find it so valuable, really, at a grassroots level, just reaching out to people and speaking with them and learning from them and reassuring them, you know. And I'm gathering this information and I'm hoping with the work that I want to do in the future that it'll help me give me that base that I need to do what I'm hoping and wanting to do in the future. Yeah.
I think speaking with the community, there's such, like we said right at the beginning, there's such a hive mind of people with different backgrounds and different experiences that come together. I think it's huge, isn't it? It's so important.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Couple of questions that have just come to mind. And we started with Liam last time. We'll start with Ishmael this time. You've been doing awareness for 3 years. What, off the top of your head, what do you think's changed in that 3 years? Has anything changed? Is it all AI now? Is that we're all talking about? What do you think's changed in that time?
Well, definitely AI is in the forefront of the picture, and people's like the ones that I'm concerned with are distancing themselves even more because they see how fast it's advancing and how they're not able to keep up because they don't have like the understanding they feel that they need to be able to use it and to benefit from it. And I'm trying to reassure them that no, we're trying to change things around. We're trying to bring back people into the forefront and making it more, like I said earlier, human-centric, where we're focusing on the individual and not on the system. Because we've been doing this for so long now, focusing on the system. And let's be honest, we're not getting anywhere. I mean, if we were able to do what we had to do, it would have been resolved by now, right? So we have to from a different angle, from a different perspective. And this is what I'm hoping and wanting to do, you know?
Yeah. Excellent. Liam, what about you? What, 7 years, 8 years, depending how you look at it.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah. What have you seen change in that time, do you think, other than AI?
I mean, quite a bit. I think the velocity of the attacks that are, affecting people, the complexity also. So it's like I think that AI is also, and I don't want to talk about AI here, but it blurs a lot of what's happening, both in terms of, possible attacks, but also in terms of, even our job. I'll remember like the amount of time it used to take to write an article, an awareness article now, well, can be done in a few seconds. So the question is less, okay, am I writing articles or not? But rather it's like, okay, well, how are you using this technology to create engagement? And are you just creating slop at work, or are you being authentic? Are you, are you putting your heart into it? And I think that you can still tell the difference between, AI generated slop, which is the
I
word
can
of the
tell that a
year.
lot. Yeah, yeah. I can tell that a lot on LinkedIn. Like you can see very obviously, there's a lot of images that you can tell are generated by AI because it follows a ChatGPT image style.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean,
and
we're guilty.
I have a problem when posts lead with that image as the main attraction.
Yeah.
I kind of don't necessarily engage with that because I know that it's been developed quickly. If it's used to support a larger piece of work, I think that's different. But and this is where we really need to think like AI is cool, don't get me wrong, but some people will be going blind to really obvious AI content. And then
Yeah.
it does, like you mentioned, authenticity. It puts our integrity into question, doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, anyone can go and just ask ChatGPT to write something. But it's not as simple as just getting the output and posting it. You might use ChatGPT in your workflow, but you can then add a certain amount of authenticity and edit and change and manipulate. It's
And
more a tool to help you on the way now
yeah.
rather than doing it
And
for you.
I would say, I mean, this is less about how it's changed, but my outlook on what the future will be of our profession. But I think that people really should start digging and being less obsessed with the idea of like AI as a threat, but more AI as an enabler, because it really will allow you to like circumvent a lot of the blockers that you previously had. Needing like, I need a graphic designer, I'll need a UX UI developer to build like a snazzy page, I'll need a developer to build like a simple tool to help my users, like to nudge them in the right way or to create engaging content. Like, I think our profession is losing its guardrails in a way where it's like now you can be non-technical and do technical things. And I think that that's really exciting. And we're just starting to see it now, just a bit.
I love that.
But we're definitely heading in that direction. I think, yeah, like obviously things have changed a lot in the last few years, but I'm really more excited about like, okay, well, what's it gonna look like in the future, Because
I had a scenario a few years ago where I wanted a Slack bot created, and I could never get the technical resource to do it because it never came to the top of the priority list of the team that I needed to do it. Now, I'd probably have a go at vibe coding one and try and get it working, and it probably would work. I haven't tried it because I don't need it now, but
and if even if it it's a half-baked solution, well, in terms of your ask, it allows you to say like, okay, like guys, bear with me, it's not perfect, but here's my idea, here's the value, and that will speak far louder than like, oh, the awareness person in the corner. But then also what this allows you is to say like, hey, these constraints that kind of made my team feel constraint in terms of what we could do, well, suddenly they're lifted, and like this team can take far more value in the eyes of your people managing you, if that's the case. I mean, now we're going slightly off course with regards to community engagement, but I mean the same is true for those kind of projects. It's like, well, there's a lot to be created, and I would say, like don't let those guardrails are gone essentially. So now go crazy.
Don't be afraid to play. Don't be afraid to play and try new things.
And I think again, the industry is very focused on AI as a threat. And, if you believe the hype or not, yeah, there certainly are new threat scenarios in place. But what I'm more excited about is like the creative part of it. It's like you can do anything you want at the moment.
A lot of people say that AI has lowered the bar for cyber attackers. So it's now easier to become a cyber attacker and craft a decent email or craft a vulnerability or something like that. But it's also lowered the bar for us, is what we're saying, to be more creative and to maybe be more impactful with less resource.
Yeah.
And with security awareness typically being under-resourced or, not perhaps getting the investment it should. I think it was Daisy. I think it might have been Daisy that said she was a team of 3. She's got her and then her friend Copilot and her friend ChatGPT. And it was like, okay. So it's,
that was amazing.
Yeah. Ishmael, do you use much AI in your day-to-day work?
Not so much, maybe because I'm not as familiar and immersed in it as others, but I see its value and I look at it as a tool, as we should be, and I see what we can do with it, which is going to be great, and we should look at it in the positive and not just worry about it from the negative, And I am myself, with what we're doing, inspired by great people in our field like Dr. Jessica Barker. She has been, to me, such a great inspiration because she's not coming from a technical background, but her background benefited, and look at the brilliant work that she's doing, So it gives us hope and inspiration that we can as well, because everybody has something which is unique to them and they can bring it into cybersecurity, especially in cybersecurity awareness, and do amazing things like some of us are, especially individuals like Dr. Jessica Barker. It's a great inspiration, for sure.
Yeah. It's people like Dr. Jessica Barker and Javad Malik, who's obviously advocate and know before. Perry Carpenter. It's people like that without them, I probably wouldn't be doing the podcast. So because they're kind of inspired us to do this. So definitely inspirational in this field.
Definitely.
I haven't written a book though. They've all written books. So maybe I need to write a book.
That can be done quickly now.
Yeah.
I should say
we're vastly running out of time.
Okay.
Are we gonna write a book? Is that what we're saying?
No, I was gonna make a joke that we could use the word artificial intelligence if we want to change your stats in terms of the most used words of your podcast. Start rotating it around.
Yeah.
Or taking from your podcast, we could do something like Awareness Angle Diaries, and all the stories behind the work that goes into making your show as brilliant as it is,
It's not a bad idea. I'll if I do that, I'll give you a credit. Don't worry. This book is dedicated to Ishmael. We are running out of time, sadly. I feel like we could go on forever, but these episodes need to kind of be around an hour long. I'm going to ask one last question. If you could change one thing in the next few years to improve online safety for everyone, what would it be? Who wants to go first?
I mean, I can start.
You can change one thing.
I mean, this is a comment on, I guess, the industry as a whole, but I feel like we're at a place where we can start building kind of the guardrails, the behavioral guardrails. It's far easier to build them than it's ever been. So in terms of, because, we're in the industry of changing behaviors. And so when you think of nudging, it's like you want to stay between the posts, to reference some football here. But I feel like, it's more of a challenge for everyone, but it's like, I feel like it's now at our disposal to build these guardrails, either through tools or through assistants or chatbots or whatever you want. But it's like, we're able to help people get over these like fairly easy scams. We're not going to solve loneliness, but yeah, I think the challenge of like allowing people to get over at least simple scams and simple kind of social engineering attacks, I feel like that's at our disposal and at our grasp, I would say, not necessarily disposal, because we haven't fully solved that yet. And so this is kind of where I would promote, is just saying like, okay, well, let's try and build these guardrails to make sure that it doesn't happen. Yeah, it's maybe more of an ambiguous answer here, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, that's good. No, I think that's good. Ishmael?
Myself, I'll keep it simple. When you don't know, just ask. And there shouldn't be any shame attached to it, to develop those relationships where you could reach out to somebody. Because just asking can make all the difference, before you fall victim to something that you could have avoided if you just talked to somebody about it before, and never be pressured or cornered into a situation. When you're uncomfortable about something, you'll know it. And if you are, just stop and step out of it and ask about it. And most likely the person or the people you'll ask will give you information that you need to understand it in the right way, It's something very simple and very straightforward, but could be so impactful,
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I
Thank
think
you.
mine, if I could change one thing in the next few years, I would want to hold Google and Meta and Microsoft financially responsible for allowing scams to take place, like fake Google ads and Facebook ad. Like there was a stat that Facebook had made like something like 8% of their revenue had come from scam ads or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, let's
10%.
hit them where it hurts. How much?
10%, if I'm not
10%.
mistaken.
It's just not. How is that okay? Like, I would like to see that, but they're too big. They're like beyond the law almost. So it would be lovely to see them actually stand up and say, no, we're going to make the world a safer place. I think they have the ability, the technology, and the money to do so much more than they do. Because so many times on the podcast, we talk about stuff that could be stopped quite easily by Meta, by Google, and other similar companies. So that would be mine. Let's hold the big tech accountable for the hell that they help facilitate. Right.
Yeah, I firmly agree.
Yeah. That's pretty much all we've got time for, guys. So it's been wonderful having you both on here. Thank you so much
Our great
for joining.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's great pleasure.
Maybe we'll make this we'll have you back in a few months for an update or something like that, and there's so much more we could dive into. So yeah, let's do it again sometime soon. That'd be amazing.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ant.
It was very appreciated.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
All
See
the
ya.
best.